Okay. Hi, I'm Emily Hodges, and I'm here with my cousin Rocky, and we just want to talk a little bit about family and
Okay.
growing up as part of such a big extended family. And I'd like to just start by having you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what the environment was, and who was living at home when you were at home.
Okay. Well, we grew up in a lot of different places. First started off in Sioux City, Iowa, on a nice little acreage, pretty close to where Grandma and Grandpa lived with my dad, Ray. And from there, we all of us kids moved to Omaha, and then moved back to Sioux City again. And then from Sioux City, we moved to Denver, Colorado. And all of us kids were still at home when we were back in the mid '70s, back in Denver. Then eventually moved back to Omaha finally. And all of us kids were home up until then.
When you were growing up, what was the place that you remember most, or what was home to you as you look back on it now?
Our little acreage in Sioux City.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to drive there one of these days before I leave and check out the old acreage. It's a lot of fond memories from the little farm there we had.
What did you have there?
We had my dad had some friends who had horses on there, and we kept horses for them. And I remember having some chickens and a huge garden, always a garden. My dad always had a garden up at the time that he left us. So yeah, that's what I remember the most about that.
Mm. What were your chores when you were growing up? What did you and your siblings have to help with?
You know, not a whole lot of chores. I remember doing a lot of weeding in the garden, and I don't remember doing much as far as cleaning out the barn or anything. But I know my dad did a lot of the lawn mowing because we were obviously a little bit too young then, but not so much a lot of chores then that I can remember.
Hmm. What did you like to play with your siblings or with your family? What did you guys do for fun?
I can remember playing Dairy Queen at the barn. My dad always had an old car he was working on, and we'd get in there and fake like we'd go to the Dairy Queen because we always had some kind of containers left over. So that was kind of one thing I remember. And my brother Rod and I got BB guns one time for Christmas, and we'd go out and shooting turtle doves, or go out fake like we're gonna shoot that squirrel or rabbit, but never really got them. But those were some things I remember.
Yeah. Where did you go to school when you were there?
In Sioux City, when I was younger, I believe it was Smith Elementary.
Okay.
We went in town, and I was there from, I think, kindergarten through first grade, and then we moved to Omaha then.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get to school?
Um, when we were in the acreage, we went and took a bus. So we had to walk about 4 or 5 blocks down to the corner there and got picked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you and your siblings all go together? Or did the
We would go together on the school bus, and we would go together and get to Smith School, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember most about your dad?
Always in the garden, always outside, and that's kind of what I do now. Is I get home from work, I'm inside working at a grocery store, so I'm inside 8 or 9 hours a day, and the first thing I want to do is get outside and maybe
Hmm.
work in my flower garden or work on my yard. But I remember my dad always being outside.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. And what do you like to do with your mom now?
with my
Or
mom.
yeah, or what do you remember doing with her when you were growing up?
I can remember helping my mom with the laundry on the acreage where we had a washer where we had to run the clothes through the wringer and then get them hung up and put them out on the clothesline outside. And in the wintertime, we hung them inside the house because we didn't have a dryer.
You hung them inside the house.
Absolutely.
Okay, just
Yeah.
like across the living room.
Yeah, across the living room. I don't remember if it was the living room or what, but I laid them on a counter or something like that. But we had to dry them somehow.
Yeah, they didn't have a dryer. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
Did you have a dishwasher?
No, kids.
No.
That's
Kids.
what my dad said he had kids for. And I can remember, even when we moved to Omaha, chore wise, it was always either setting the table or clearing the table, or someone was washing, somebody was drying, and the other kids were putting dishes away. So there was 5 or 6 of us all crammed in the kitchen trying to help get dinner done so we can go back outside and play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. What did you think when you were growing up, being part of such a big extended family?
I liked it. Of course, I've got a twin, so I was always with somebody, and it was always kind of fun. There was never a dull moment where if there was nobody friends-wise outside around, you always had a brother or sister to play with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the games that you guys used to play?
Oh, we played kickball. We'd be outside playing hide and seek, and when we were living in Omaha, we lived on Franklin Street, and a lot of kids there, a lot of families there. We'd play hide and seek at a 3-block radius. And we always had home base being either one of our houses or one of the neighbors' houses. So it was always um, a long distance game. So it was always fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what brings you joy today? What do you like to do?
Well, right now, I do like camping. So I do camping a lot. I like to fish. I do like to take care of my yard, and we've got a flower garden, so I take care of that, and I help my in-laws with their house and stuff. So yeah, I like that. Being outside is the best. That's what I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you always liked that?
I've always liked being outside. It's if it's hot and humid like it is today, I'll still be outside until my body can can't handle it anymore. But then I'll come in and cool down. But I love being outdoors and doing anything that's involving nature or fishing or just even nature walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you tell somebody that was coming to the reunion that didn't know anybody? What are they in for at the Schuetz reunion, or even just meeting any of our big family?
That you'd be part of the family right off the bat, and you could talk to any one of the cousins, and it'd be just like like your own little sibling. And even though they're a second cousin or even a first cousin, you don't see them every 2 years. It'd be kind of like a large family that sees each other every 2 years. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for sharing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no problem.
And answering questions.
Sure.